Season 1 of the new Percy Jackson show just wrapped up, and it covered the entirety of Book 1. I covered this show in depth over the last 2 months, which was a lot of fun, and if you're interested in watching my breakdowns and reviews, I've linked a playlist with all of the videos down below. While covering the show, I realized that there was one thing Season 1 skipped over, and that was how Luke got his scar. In this video, I'm going to cover how that scar came to be, which is a really interesting story, and also how it affected Luke afterwards. Also, if you enjoy this video, hit that like button. It will greatly help the channel with the algorithm. And if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. And you can also follow me on all of my other social medias, all of which are linked down below, and all of which house similar content that I make here on this channel. Now that I've said that, let's get the video started. I was originally going to cover this video after episode 6, because I noticed that they chose to cover Luke's bad relationship with his father in a different way than highlighting a scar like Book 1 did.
You were there last time I saw Luke.
Yes. I saw you argue. I heard what he said. That what happened to his mom was your fault. That it was all your fault. That he hated you.
They instead went with information we got in the 5th book, which had to do with his mother, and which I think jumped the gun a bit, but that's besides the point. After episode 6 dropped, I decided to wait to make this video until the entirety of season 1 wrapped up, just giving them the benefit of the doubt that they might cover it later on, but they never did. So that's why I'm here. I'm gonna fill in the missing gap. I guess we'll start this great story with Luke arriving at Camp Half-Blood. After Luke arrived at camp, he was desperate to prove himself. He did so quickly, becoming the best swordsman, a natural leader, and eventually becoming the head of the Hermes cabin, the biggest cabin there is, and also being one of the veteran campers who was there longer than most. Luke is someone who craves power though, so naturally he wanted more. Going back to him being the head of the Hermes cabin, this of course meant that Hermes claimed Luke as his son, and Hermes is a crucial part of why Luke got his scar. 2 years before the series takes place, when Luke was 17, Hermes gave his son a chance to prove himself even more by giving Luke a quest. His task was to seek out a golden apple from the Garden of Hesperides, apples that had been grown from fruit branches that Gaia gave to Hera as a wedding gift when she was marrying Zeus. Getting this apple was no easy task, however, because Hera had it guarded by a dragon named Ladin who never slept, its sole purpose being to guard these apples. When Luke first got this quest, right away, he was angry with his father. This is because it was a quest that had already been completed by Hercules. Hercules had successfully retrieved a golden apple, and he was very well known for doing this, so Luke felt that he could not get glory from completing a quest that had already been done. Nevertheless, Luke went on the quest, and it did not go well. Luke arrived at the garden, and he faced off against the dragon Ladin. Ladin dominated the fight, both with its fire breathing and its sharp claws, and one of those claws scratched Luke in the face, giving him a scar across his right eye. Luke failed his quest to retrieve a golden apple, but he did manage to cut off the very claw that gave him that scar, and that was all he had when he returned to camp, not even having his own dignity. This failure to complete the quest made him angry with his father, especially because his father set him up to fail where others succeeded. Luke felt that had it been a quest that no one else had done, the failure would have been less humiliating. The scar on his face was a reminder of not only his own failure, but of his father setting him up to fail, and this drove Luke down a very dark path. Seeing the scar every time he looked in the mirror ate him up inside, and made his hatred for the gods fester inside of him. Being in this highly emotional, weakened, and dare I say broken state, it was one of the reasons why Kronos was able to manipulate Luke so easily, and why he joined Kronos. He wanted revenge on his father and all of the gods. The scar represents both the physical toll and the emotional trauma Luke endured in the years leading up to the first book and episode. When you really look at it, it makes more sense why Luke chose to join Kronos, and it all goes back to the scar on his face.